This is a time of great opportunity for BHP. The resources we produce are essential to the energy transition and global economic growth. Our products are fundamental to the way we live now and into the future. Now more than ever, we need to provide the world the resources it needs responsibly and sustainably. Imagine what we can achieve if we continue to think big.
Well, good morning and welcome back to IMARC 2020. My name's Gavan, Collery and I'm the founder of the Melbourne Mining Club Steering Committee. And we at the Mining Club have been strong supporters of IMARC since inception. I also have the honour of being an IMARC ambassador, and today I'm joined by a fellow IMARC ambassador, Owen Hegarty. Now, Owen has more than 40 years experience in the global mining industry. After a 25-year stint at Rio Tinto, he emerged as the founder and managing director of Oxiana, the mighty Ox, where he led growth from a junior explorer to a major Asia-Pacific base and precious metals producer. Owen has also been chairman of the Tiger Realm Minerals Group and vice chairman of Fortescue Metals Group. He's the founder and executive chairman of IMARC Capital, a specialist mining private equity company with $2.5 billion US in funds under management and 8 mining projects and operations worldwide. Owen is a fellow and former director of the AusIMM. He's a fellow of the AICD and is a valued member of government resource industry advisory bodies. He has received multiple recognition and awards for his leadership and achievements in the mining industry in Australia and internationally, including being named as an IMARC, or Mines and Money, legend in mining. In 2019, Owen was named as an honorary fellow of the AusIMM, which recognises exceptional achievement, service and contribution to the minerals sector. And as I have said, Owen is an IMARC ambassador. I welcome Owen Hegarty to IMARC 2020. Now,
thank you very much, Gavan. Lovely to be here.
Oh, it's wonderful to catch up. Owen, our topic today is how mining and resources will continue to play a critical role in economic recovery and what needs to be done to support this. Owen, the topic suggests that our industry will in fact play a critical role in economic recovery. Will we, as an industry, play a critical role in recovery? Why? And are we match fit?
Well, thank you, Gavan, and lovely to be with you, and thank you for the opportunity to have a bit of a go today. In respect of mining, of course, its role in this recovery is going to be absolutely pivotal, and it already is in a way. So we're certainly on the way to recovery, and mining is critical. I mean, as you know, Australia is blessed with multiple resources. It's got a terrific industry with great expertise, experience and capability all the way through from exploration, discovery, development, operations, technology and so on. You've got the METS, the mining equipment and technical services industry, terrific industry. We've developed markets, we've developed financial capability. And very importantly, Gavan, the mining industry, not only in Australia, but worldwide, has actually come through COVID very, very well. And that's because in many cases, our operations are somewhat remote, but also the industry is well prepared from an occupational health and safety perspective. We've got really good principles, policies and procedures in that whole area. And that has enabled the industry to continue producing and come through COVID very, very well indeed. So whether it's the recovery from COVID worldwide, or whether it's the long-term economic development of Australia or wherever else it is we operate, our great industry is absolutely critical, absolutely pivotal to that recovery and continued development, Gavan.
Okay, now, Owen, IMARC is, of course, an international forum, and your company, IMARC Capital, has mining projects worldwide. As I said earlier on, it's 8 of them. So let's look at this at a global, regional, national or even Australian level, does one size fit all, or do we need to tailor our engagements as an industry as we strive for economic recovery?
Well, I think probably not the one size fits all. I mean, as you say, EMR is all over the world as opposed to all over the place, Gavin. So we've got operations and projects in Europe, we're in Africa, we're in Asia, we're in the Americas, and of course we've got multiple operations in Australia. So, you know, we think it's very much a global industry. It's very, very diversified in terms of all of the things that we're in. Australia, as we say, is going to play a pivotal role, but also all of the other great mining jurisdictions around the world in North America, South America, Africa, and Europe, and so on. So it won't be one size fits all, but we have to continue to be responsive to the demand and continue to be responsible in the way in which we develop, Gavan.
Owen, inside that question, in the one size fits all, should we adhere to a universal standard for each of the companies where they operate, regardless if it's in a developed nation or a developing nation, do you think?
Well, we're certainly adhering to a whole suite of international standards, whether they, and particularly when, Gavin, it comes to responsible development, responsible mining, ESG, you know, we do have a whole suite of international standards that are developed, set by ourselves in the sense of the ICMM, for example, the IFC, the World Bank, AusIMM, lots of codes of conduct there in all of those various areas. So it's very much a regulated, but to be honest, we don't see that in the industry. We don't see that as any sort of a burden, Gavin. It's not a burden. I mean, for us to be a long-term sustainable industry in the macro sense as an industry or as a micro sense as separate companies, we really do need to adhere to those rules and codes of conduct, Gavin.
Okay. Now, Owen, in this area of economic recovery, there's one of our metals that stands out. Many people call it copper, but you and I, of course, always call it Dr. Copper. It's considered a bellwether on the health of the global economy. It has averaged about $2.50 a pound in the first half of the year, and right now it's well north of $3. Can we take recent recovery in the copper price as a broad sign of optimism or sentiment for recovery from COVID? And if so, why?
Well, definitely, Gavin, right on the money there. I mean, copper is definitely a bellwether for economic recovery, for industrial production around the world in the same way that oil tends to be, for example, and multiple other commodities. But look, copper is powering the infotech and communications revolution. It's electrifying China and the rest of the developing world. It's a producer good. It's a consumer good. It's used in everything, infrastructure all the way through to iPhones and so on. And it will be powering the EV revolution and the whole renewables revolution. So it's in all of those things, Gavin, and therefore a very, very good bellwether. Its recovery from, as you say, $2 or thereabouts to north of $3 and rising is really to do with a good, strong recovery in China, good, strong recoveries that are starting now in a number of other countries around the world, particularly the developing countries. So copper's getting a very good run from that perspective. And as we were saying a bit earlier, the mining industry, and yes, there's been a few hits to supply, but really not too damaging there in terms of supply. So supply has been kept up, demand is coming back strongly, and therefore copper, yes, you're right, it's a good bellwether and showing that the world is recovering and recovering fast.
Do you believe that copper, the trend of an improving price will continue for the near term or even longer term?
Look, as I say, copper is the noblest of all metals. It's got a great diversity of uses. It's going to continue to power not only the comms revolution, but it will actually power the electric vehicle and the renewables revolution. And Gavin, it's got a terrific use also as antibacterial, antimicrobial usage and so on. I mean, those bacteria, those COVIDs, they cannot last on a copper surface. So it'll be increasingly used in that. And it's also, Gavin, an anti-aging device, an anti-aging chemical and used in the cosmetics industry. It's probably a bit late for me, Gavin, but I'm sure there's plenty of people will be able to use it out there.
That's just what you need. Copper as a cosmetic. Owen, our macroeconomic recovery is part of the equation. Our industry leaders tell us that the underlying principles or measures to our role and to responsible mining is something you touched on earlier, ESG, which is environmental, social and governance. ESG has been described, ironically, by Tom Palmer of Newmont as a gentle wave building into a tsunami. Does our ESG factor in for our industry as we hopefully prepare for recovery process from COVID? And are there a range or a mix of values or metrics as we strive to recover, and what might some of those metrics be?
Well, I think, as we mentioned a bit earlier, I mean, our great industry, operates under, has developed a whole suite of standards and operates to them and is continually improving them, whether it's the ICC, ICMM, OzIMM, and various other codes of conduct around the world when it comes to ESG. And it's not, Gavin, as if there's anything new here. It hasn't, really just suddenly dawned on us that we have to be responsible in these directions. We've been doing it for years and years and years. The whole environmental protection and rehabilitation regime, the mining industry has really been at the forefront of that, has been a pioneer, whether you're in the Gulf of Carpentaria, whether you're in the Atacama Desert in Peru, or whether you're in the rainforests of North Sumatra. Our environmental protection capability, technologies and performance has been very, very good from that perspective. Also, Gavin, in the social responsibility area, the community areas and so on. I mean, we are blessed actually in the mining industry that we do have the opportunity to work in remote communities, again, wherever they be throughout the world. And therefore you have got the opportunity and indeed the responsibility to work with those local communities, provinces and national governments. And in fact, you really, really must have the long-term support, cooperation and encouragement of all of those communities, governments and so on. Otherwise, there's no point showing up, Gavin. So we do have that. We take it very seriously, and our track record, I have to say, is very good. And when it comes to the G, responsible governance, for example, again, we've been very, very good at that. We've got some excellent standards in Australia. The ASX and ASIC are world leaders in setting governance standards for corporations, and indeed the corporations themselves are continuing to improve their performance under all of that. So look, we've got plenty to learn, but we've got plenty to get on with, Gavin, and I think that our record in all of those things is a good one of which I'm proud.
Okay. Now, Owen, not all that we produce in our industry is in fact metal. Something that's dear to you is we produce potash, for example, and it plays a very different role in recovery through a growing population, a reduction in arable lands, and the need to lift crop yields. How do we as an industry play an economic role or recovery role in the non-metal space?
Well, indeed, as you mentioned, potash or the whole fertiliser space, one way or the other, through into agriculture. I mean, mining, our industry is one way or another involved. With respect to potash, we have a number of potash projects, always on the lookout for them. It's quite a big industry. It's a worldwide industry. And as you say, there's less arable land, there's greater population, there's greater proteins required in diets and so on and so forth, and people are living longer. So, and in fact, Gavin, I'm living proof that people are eating more and living longer. So we will continue to look at potash, continue to look at the fertiliser space as our industry will.
No, I think it's the copper as a cosmetic that's helping you along there, Owen. Owen, our final question, as an icon of our industry and as an IMARC ambassador, do you have an overarching message that you'd care to share with those many people across the world who work in and around our industry and are online for IMARC 2020 with us today?
Okay, well, thank you for that opportunity. And Gavin, I should say there are really just a couple of messages. One is there's no question in my mind, in our mind, that our great industry is a long way to go. We've got multiple decades of good, strong demand for all of the commodities that we produce, and supply is going to be challenged. So there's plenty of work for us to get on with and plenty of opportunities there. So, and my message, I suppose, in a way to the people coming to IMARC, involved in the industry and so on and so forth is, stay safe, stay well, stay strong, and stay very much with our industry. Don't give up. The best is yet to come.
Well, Owen, thank you very much. Time has caught up with us, as always, enlightening and to the point. Ladies and gentlemen, a true leader in our industry. To our IMARC 2020 delegates, please enjoy the rest of the conference. And again, thank you, Owen.
Thank you very much indeed, Gavin, for the opportunity, and good luck to everybody.
This is a time of great opportunity for BHP. The resources we produce are essential to the energy transition and global economic growth. Our products are fundamental to the way we live now and into the future. Now more than ever, we need to provide the world the resources it needs responsibly and sustainably. Imagine what we can achieve if we continue to think big.